Okay, guys. I think we're all live and good to go. So, welcome to today's webinar. We've done it a little bit later in the evening so that everyone's had a chance to kind of sit back a little bit, relax, and you're not kind of rushing back from work. And the promise on today's webinar is that at the end of it, you will know how to get rid of your own acne at home without ever setting foot in our clinic or a clinic like ours ever again. So quite a bold claim I'm starting off with. I kind of get it, but I'll sort of explain who I am. I'm Nishant. I'm the curator at Smooth and Simple, and we have a great acne product or a great way of delivering acne treatments. But today's not about that. It's about helping you understand acne. It's about helping you see how you can actually influence and take control of your acne yourself. So it's always nice to put a face to the name, but today there is a lot to go through. It's about half an hour long, today's webinar. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share my screen with you guys, and I'm going to run through a presentation which is going to cover all the basics, because I want to make sure I cover everything today. So I'll just get that going. So as you can see, today is all about helping you get rid of your acne from home. We genuinely do mean that you will be able to do this. And what we're going to run through today is kind of understanding what acne is about. You really do have to get a grip of what causes acne and how it happens and the science behind it. Because actually, as we're running through today's webinar, and I'm running through these sections about facts and myths and handy tips, the three-stage process that I'm talking about here to help you get rid of your acne will start actually making itself pretty apparent as we're going through. So, it's really important to actually understand the acne and the condition. And I've been both fortunate and unfortunate to have encountered a lot of people, particularly young people, who have suffered from acne or do suffer from acne, and it's something that unless you've been through it, and welcome to anybody who is suffering from acne, I have every sympathy with you, because I can understand how much it does sap confidence. So I do really understand that. And if you're one of the fortunate few who's joining us and watching live, and welcome to you as well. If you aren't suffering from acne at the moment, you just wanted to get a bit more information, there's some really good general skincare hints and tips in here anyway. But hopefully it'll help you understand what an acne sufferer goes through. And it is a condition that I do have my full sympathy to anybody who does suffer from it, because it can affect confidence. We've seen that time and again in our clinic, the amount of confidence that it does sap from people, and they can't be themselves. We're going to talk about when it happens quite commonly, and it's usually at a time when people are finding their feet in the world, they're finding their own way. It's usually young people. You're making your friends for life, and you've got something that's just pegging you back all the way through, that's stopping you from letting your real personality out, because you feel that there's this vendetta against you, and it's always about you. Well, what we're going to do today is by helping you understand about acne, is hopefully you'll realize at the end of it that actually you have all the control over your acne. It isn't something that's uncontrollable. It isn't something that's out there to get you and you being blighted with it. But with the right guidance, you can get through that. So I think it always helps to kind of see acne to start off with, really, and see where you fit along the grade. And I picked these off the internet just today, just to kind of show you the grades of acne, really. And we start off on the left-hand side over here with grade 1. That's somebody who almost clear, really. They've got a few scattered sort of spots, bits of areas of blockages, maybe a few little red inflamed spots. You know, and that's grade 1 acne. You then go into grade 2, which is what's called mild acne. And over here you can see with this girl over here, she's got a few more red inflamed spots. You know, they usually come in a few more clusters, and the skin starts looking like a little bit, it's like it is congested, it's a bit poorer quality. And you know, most people that suffer from acne kind of fall into these two here. So then you move on to grade 3. Grade 3 is what's called moderate acne. Acne here, now you can see there's big clusters. Skin quality has changed immeasurably here. It looks very dull, looks congested, looks tight. You know, and there are numerous spots, and they're called pustules. And then you've got grade 4. Now you can imagine if you don't suffer from grade 4 acne, and then you look at this, I mean, it's quite an eye-opening sight to see somebody suffers from that. And you can see when people are in grade 3 and grade 4, you know, confidence is sapping away from them, and they really can't be themselves because it just takes over your life. This constant battle to fight the acne. So that is it kind of puts acne into perspective, really. It does help to understand what you're kind of dealing with. But I mean, in general, acne is a term that's often used to describe spots in general. But actually, acne is spots on the skin that are caused by blocked pores. And what happens is the blocked pores become vulnerable to infection by the acne bacteria. So it's a bacteria that's on your skin, and if you've got it and then you get a blocked pore, that's when you start developing full-on acne. And what happens is when that blocked pore becomes infected, it gets raised and it starts becoming red and inflamed. You know, and you start getting these kinds of spots, and it really takes over. Now, acne affects most people at some stage or another. But teenagers in particular are susceptible. We see a lot of people in their late teens and early 20s. They're the biggest group. But there's an increasing prevalence of people in their kind of late 50s, early 60s to actually start getting acne now. As you can see, it can vary in severity. You can get just a few pimples and spots to something more significant, which is this grade 3, grade 4. So, you know, it's very serious condition, and you know, we always people talk about medical conditions now. Well, it's only acne, and unless you've been through it, there's no such thing as only acne. And it's not life-threatening, of course it isn't, but you know, it can be disfiguring when these sort of pustules here and these spots, when they calm down eventually, they leave scarring, and that's why it's really important. You know, we see a lot of people later in life, so in their late 20s, early 30s, who come to us for scar treatments and generally poor quality skin, and it turns out that they've actually suffered from acne in the past before, and they've used very aggressive treatments. So the sooner you start treating acne, if you can catch it in this phase, you can get rid of it and control it quickly, and you don't get yourself in that position where you've got scarring. So it's really important to get onto it as quick as possible. So to kind of give you a few facts about acne. And you know, the facts are really important to pick up because they kind of put everything into perspective a little bit, and give you an idea of, you know, what acne is all about. So over 75% of Europeans will suffer from acne at some time in their lives. That's a huge percentage of people, and it could be across all of those grades. It's the most prevalent medical condition in Western society. So, you know, what causes it? Acne is actually caused by sensitivity to testosterone. You know, and that's interesting, because suddenly you get into the realms of it's a hormonal disease. It's a symptom of hormonal imbalance. So, you know, a lot of the myths that we're going to cover later start addressing that. And what happens is sensitivity to testosterone actually causes abnormal cell growth. So you get these particular cells can overgrow, and in acne sufferers, what happens is they actually produce excess sebum. So your skin naturally produces an oil to keep it lubricated and soft and supple, but you produce a lot of this. And sebum is like acne bacteria. If you've got acne bacteria on your skin and it then starts getting sebum, what happens is the acne like loves it. It's its favorite food, sebum. So they kind of jump at it. But the reason that you suddenly get excess production of sebum actually is a bit unknown. But what is known is that if you do control testosterone, then you can control your acne. So the acne bacteria, it kind of flourishes when the skin isn't sufficiently acid. That's going to be a theme that's going to come out quite a lot about the acidity of your skin. What happens is this acidity, I do beg your pardon, is measured on a scale called a pH scale, where 0 is extremely acid, so things like your sulfuric acids and things like that, and 14 is extremely alkaline. So caustic soda is something that's extremely alkaline. And pH 7 is a neutral pH, which a lot of people know about, and that's the pH approximately of the blood that we've got in our bodies. So what happens is the acne bacteria which you have on your skin, and some people have it, some people don't, once these pores become blocked and the sebum starts growing in there, the acne bacteria gets in. And because antibacterial is an anaerobe, so it doesn't like oxygen, inside the pore there's no oxygen. So the bacteria can flourish, and it's got its favorite food, it's got this sebum in there. So it multiplies, and that's what causes that inflaming of the pores, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. Like I was saying before, most people suffer from acne in their late teens and early 20s, but it can affect people later on in life. And the average time a person may be affected by acne is about 7 years. So it's a long-term thing, acne. And because it's a long-term thing, you have to have a long-term solution to it as well. There's no magic wand. Women, when they're having their periods and they're on their menstrual cycle, they can get fluctuating levels of testosterone, which can produce breakouts at times. So those are the kind of things you can understand now. Whether the facts about acne say that it's a hormonal problem. So moving on to the myths, and this is quite interesting, this, because we get a lot of them in our clinic. A lot of people asking, well, is it this and this, is this? So myths about acne. Diet. If you suffer from acne, it doesn't mean you have a poor diet, but you can control your acne with a good diet. Is acne contagious? It isn't. You can't catch it because it is about sensitivity to testosterone. So even if you come into contact with somebody who has the acne bacteria, just because they have that doesn't mean that you're going to get acne. A lot of people ask whether any kind of sexual activity causes acne, and that's not true either. And getting acne doesn't mean that your skin's dirty. And although it is important to avoid excess oil, so that excess sebum, washing too frequently will actually over dry your skin. And actually what happens when your skin is dry is your body naturally produces more oil to lubricate it again. And actually what you're doing there is you're aggravating the acne a bit further. And UV light, some people say that UV light helps their acne, and you might get a temporary improvement in the severity, but it doesn't cause any long-term clear-up in the production of acne because it doesn't do anything to your testosterone. So they're the kind of myths about acne. And a few handy tips for controlling acne, and this is great for anybody who's watching, listening, who doesn't actually suffer from acne, or you're just looking for a bit of information. There's some really great skincare advice here. So the tips for controlling acne are pretty simple, really. The first one is skincare. Is a really vital part of controlling acne. We talked about the pH, and that's going to come up lots today. You should make sure that you keep your skin clean with regular use of a gentle low pH cleanser. Must be acidic, and we'll get to how you do that later. It is important to not over cleanse the skin, however, because it can become dry and irritated. And I was talking about that sebum production before. You don't want anything that's going to trigger it. But always make sure you use a low pH moisturizer, and always apply that after you've used any kind of spot treatment gels or creams. Maintaining the acidity of the skin in general. It's the skin acidity you need to maintain is 5.5 or less. And you do this by using balanced or acidic products. So make sure you always check with the supplier and the manufacturer what pH you've got on there. Most solid soaps are actually alkaline. So if you're using a soap to clean your skin because it leaves it a bit dry, don't actually do that because it's changing the acidity level of your skin. But most liquid cleansers are actually slightly acid. It's really important to gently exfoliate regularly because that reduces the amount of congested pores. And we were just saying we don't want to cause anything that blocks a pore. So even if you do overproduce sebum, you want it to reach the surface of the skin and then disappear. So a regular course of peels or some kind of peeling solution will help. And then a couple of these things now about you, and this is something that's going to come out a little bit when we get into our 3 stages of how you can control this at home. A lot of it depends on you as a person, and compliance is a really, really important one. If you are serious about controlling your acne and you're at that point, you must every day without exception follow your treatment regime. You have to do that. If you don't do it, then all that's going to happen is that you're going to end up going through a cycle of acne, and we don't want to do that. Variety. It's really important to try different things. Experiment with different skincare, experiment with different regimes and diets and exercises. But it links to this next point, which is perseverance. Don't give up too quickly on something. If it hasn't worked within a couple of weeks, don't just stop. It's really important to keep at something for a couple of months. Give it that much time for your skin to really start responding to it. So if you try something new, stick with it for 8 weeks. That's what you should use, that rule. And diet. For some people, diet can actually influence the severity of acne, and you've got to become a real diet inspector. So we're talking about trying things out and making sure you persevere with them. So if you try a new diet, or you're trying a new skincare regime, stick with it, because that's when you can start eliminating food items that might be causing your acne. And remember, it's all about sensitivity to certain foods, which might cause your hormones to become a bit imbalanced. Generally speaking, there is a growing body of evidence that a low glycemic index diet, it's one of these diets that Kylie's been on, it's keeping simple sugars low, so you don't have too many carbohydrates, you don't have sugar itself, white flour, things like that. And the kind of main ingredients that you get in breads and cakes and sweets, all the things that are kind of, that are bad for you. And dairy products as well. There's an increasing body of evidence that lactose, being a simple sugar, is high in glycemic, has a high glycemic index, sorry, and that can then cause fluctuations in your testosterone. And it's all about maintaining that testosterone level. So, high levels of testosterone can trigger acne breakouts. So hormonal activity is difficult to regulate, but because it reacts to stress, it reacts to diet, it reacts to exercise and lifestyle, but you can do things to try and keep it at a constant. So they're the kind of general guidelines on acne, a little bit more about it. I probably talked a little bit more about that than I maybe intended to, but it's really important to understand the science of acne, because when you get that, all the things that we're going to talk about in a minute do make sense, and they kind of logically make sense, scientifically make sense. So what we're going to talk about now is the 3 stages to getting rid of your acne from home. Okay. Now this program, so to speak, will resolve about 90% of mild acne. So that's that kind of grade 2 acne. That's not to say you'll never have another spot again, but you'll certainly have fewer breakouts, which will also be smaller, and they'll heal quicker, which means that you get less chance of scarring. If you have moderate acne, it won't prevent you from getting the big cysts and nodules, but you will significantly reduce the severity of your acne. And if you do have severe acne, and I really feel for you if you do have severe acne, please don't use this as a treatment for severe acne. It will definitely help with it, but you must combine this with some real expert guidance and medical advice as well. So always make sure you do that. So this 3-stage program, it's really great because it's very inexpensive. It only requires a few adjustments to your normal routine, but you need to be a real kind of Inspector Clouseau, really clued up on what's going on with your skin to understand what's happening. So the first stage is protecting your skin, and you protect your skin. This is like the easiest thing in this whole step process. Number 1, the simplest part. And all you've got to do is make sure, you've got to be a detective really, but make sure that any product that you use on your skin has a pH of 5.5 or less. So if you do this, you will significantly reduce, really significantly reduce the amount of acne bacteria that you've got on your skin. And what will then happen is that you'll start reducing the amount of inflamed and infected spots and pustules that you've got. So to do that, you've got 3 really simple rules to follow. Really, really simple rules. Always do this. And even if you don't have acne, great advice to follow. Number 1, never use a bar of soap again. Bars of soap are alkaline and they'll raise your skin pH. Always use a liquid soap and make sure it's got a low pH. Now we sell them. We sell some great cleansers, and the benefit of buying something from a clinic is that it's concentrated, it's formulated to tackle acne bacteria, and a little goes a long way. So usually you'll find they last 2 or 3 months. But not everyone's budget stretches to buying a cleanser from a clinic. Totally understand that. So products such as Garnier Neutralia, that range, and I think Garnier Neutralia 2-in-1 is pretty good. And Pear's shower gel, very commonly available. I know my local co-op has the Pear shower gel, and it's an important point at this stage. Acne doesn't just affect the face; it affects the body as well. So if you can use a shower gel that's low in pH, you're keeping the overall skin pH low, and that's going to help you combat acne. So again, make sure that you purchase something that's a low pH cleanser. You should use them sparingly. So remember, don't overwash. We talked about overwashing and drying out the skin. Normally you just need enough just to wash away grime and pollution, but don't wash excessively to strip away the natural oils from your skin. Twice a day is enough, but if you do sweat, you do anything that induces sweat, make sure you wash that away quickly, because sweat is alkaline. You don't want that to affect your skin pH. So that's rule number 1: never buy a bar of soap again. Number 2, this is one for the girls out there. If you use makeup, always use mineral makeup. Mineral makeup is inorganic and doesn't affect or mess around with the pH of your skin. So it doesn't matter how much you put on, it doesn't affect it at all. And it also provides a bit of a hostile environment for any bacteria. So it keeps you clear of that bacteria, full stop. One really good range that we stock is Jane Iredale. Really fantastic, kind of medically backed up. But any good mineral makeup range it will do the trick here. And then kind of lastly, the 3rd rule that you've got, so never buy a bar of soap. If you use makeup, make sure it's mineral makeup. The last one for everybody is that any products you use, that's from moisturizer to sunblock, anything that you use, make sure it has a pH of 5 or less. Manufacturers are getting really, really good, particularly good manufacturers are getting fantastic at putting the pH on their products. If you're unsure and you're in a Boots buying your skincare, ask somebody there. They should be able to tell you. And if you can't find the pH, doesn't mean you can't buy that product, but just stop, don't buy it. Get your iPhone out, just tap it in, get on their website and find out from them, what the pH is what the pH actually is, and most people are pretty good at doing that. And if not, they're independent tests as well. Typical sort of good brands, SkinCeuticals, any kind of brand. Medicate's a good one. SkinCeuticals, any kind of brand that a clinic stocks will usually have a low pH. And like I said, that Garnier Neutralia and Pear shower gel is really good, and they're very inexpensive actually. So where you can use a good one for your face, you might want to use a cheaper one for everyday washing. So that's the protection from your skin. That's the easy bit. 5.5 or less, pH 5.5 or less, and less is between 0 and 5.5. The next stage on this is to treat the acne. Quite a simple one, this one. You need to have some kind of acne peel for kind of maintenance of your skin. And what this does, it has two effects really. It reduces the amount of bacteria on the surface of your skin, which just reduces the chance of infection. And the second effect is that because it exfoliates your skin, you're not allowing the pores to get blocked, which means that the sebum can escape to the surface of the skin, and then you don't get the blocked pores, and therefore the spots. So it's a really, really good way controlling your acne breakouts. And the other advantage is a little bit further down the line. So we talked about the average life cycle being 7 years, and we're seeing people in their early 30s who had acne when they were teenagers and they've got scarred skin now. And if you're having regular peels, then what actually happens is that your skin renews itself better and heals better, and therefore the likelihood of you getting scarring later on in life is reduced. And some of the scarring treatments that we do are very effective, but they are harsh on the skin. So you should have some kind of treatment for your acne as the second stage, and that's the one that's a little bit more difficult, requires a bit more money and a bit more commitment. And then we move on to stage 3. And stage 3 is the one that people find the hardest to do, because it's dead easy to find pH 5.5 products. It's reasonably simple, although costly maybe, to go and get some peels. This bit requires a lot from you. We were talking about that earlier on, with that commitment from you as an individual, and that is to adjust your lifestyle. And to get the best from any of your treatments. And it's in our interests as a clinic and in our industry for companies to keep you buying creams for 7 years, because you become a customer for 7 years. But you're never going to break out the cycle of acne and needing those products unless you make changes to your lifestyle. And the first one is diet. So you want to be eating low glycemic foods, and a low glycemic diet will reduce the likelihood of high blood sugar, which keeps your insulin levels stable. And that stabilizes other hormones such as cortisol and testosterone, which we know testosterone now is the evil that aggravates acne. So they're kind of simple carbohydrates are the ones that are high in that have a high glycemic index. So just Google glycemic index and find out the foods that you should avoid. But easily you can avoid things like bread, cake, biscuits, anything like that with white flour, and anything with simple sugars as well. And another bit on that is milk. So if you do suffer from acne, your milk consumption should be reduced to no more than 250 mils per day. And if you do have milk, avoid skim milk altogether, because it has a high content of lactose. And lactose is a simple sugar, so it has a very high GI index number. So that will keep, it will help your keep your acne bacteria flourishing. The next one is exercise. It's really important, to have regular exercise, such as running or brisk walking, that raises the heart rate, because that actually helps regulate hormone production, like insulin, for instance, and kind of keep things on a nice level. So it's about elevated heart rate, not kind of going and beasting it at the gym. And some exercises like weight training do actually stimulate the overproduction of testosterone. So if you do indulge in weight training of any description, you should be prepared for an increase in acne breakouts. And people do actually see this. You've probably seen a lot of people who do work out a lot. They do get a lot of breakouts. So that's exercise. Sleep. It's really important to get adequate sleep, because when you sleep, your body heals. And that's when you recover from those breakouts. And you want to be able to heal, because when you heal, you scar less as well. So really important to get that kind of nighttime sleep. If you do find yourself regularly not getting enough sleep and you're tired a lot during the day, if you get a chance, once a week, usually at the weekend if you can, just allow yourself to wake up naturally. No alarms, no lights, no sound, nothing. Because what will happen is you will actually get rid of any sleep deprivation that you've accumulated over the week. So it's a good way to kind of reset the clock. And then lastly, stress. Stress can increase levels of cortisol, which kind of plays havoc with your hormones. So trying to stay positive, trying to let things go a little bit, is always quite good. Very difficult when you are suffering from acne. If you saw some of those pictures before, that's tough. So I do understand that, but having a good positive outlook towards your treatment, these lifestyle changes, if you exercise regularly, you're going to start feeling good. You're going to get endorphins pumping through your veins. So it's all kind of linked together there. So these things are good in general to do in your lifestyle, but definitely help with your acne. So, kind of moving on to the last bit, really, it's my big bold promise, your home peel recipe now. So this is the real key now to how you can get rid of acne from your home and never have to set foot in a clinic like ours. So make a promise to yourself that you're going to follow step 1, which is dead easy. Follow that religiously. No products with a pH of 5.5 or above. Don't have to spend much money on them. Just have to read labels very carefully. And follow step 3 really religiously as well. So make a promise to yourself you're going to sleep well, you're going to exercise reasonably, you're going to make sure that you don't eat all the things that are really bad for you. You know, and that will be a really nice boost to your body anyway. And then the real killer here is, you know, we said about those treatments, and I said that's where there's a bit of money involved. Well, we're going to give you, and if you follow this link over here, it's bit.ly/homeacnepeel. This is a recipe for you to make a peel at home. Now, this peel is actually pretty potent, so it's going to come with a couple of warnings. I'm just going to sort of tell you a little bit here. The peel actually works by exfoliating your skin. And as we talked before, that decongests the surface and clears out those blocked pores. Now, what we've got here is a bit of a combination peel. While it's all natural products, it's all stuff you can get from the supermarket to combine. And if you go on that link, it will give you all the warnings, and it will also give you the ingredients, what you need to add to your shopping list, how to mix them up, and how to apply that. The warning I will give that it is pretty potent. We've all actually tried it before, and it does sting a little bit when you do use it. So it just shows you it does work. So don't be overzealous with it. If you're going to use it once a week maximum. That's it. And once you've used it, well, don't use it if you're sunburnt. That's number 1, because your skin's already very damaged. But if you intend to go in strong sunlight in the next 48 hours, don't use it at all. It will be less aggressive than a peel that you'd have in clinic, obviously. We don't want you to go around burning yourself, but it is strong. It's about something that you get in your normal beauty salon, like a glycolic peel or something like that. So do please exercise caution, you know, and be happy that you're happy with the reaction. So test it on an inconspicuous spot so you know what it's going to feel like before you start putting it on your face, and expect a reaction from it, because it does contain salicylic acid, you know, and if you're allergic to any type of salicylic or aspirin, you should make sure you don't use the aspirin element of this. So give it a go. If you're unsure about how to do it, how to use it, please give us a call. That's always a good way to do it. And, you know, a bit of a shameless plug, obviously, but we do have an excellent regime for controlling acne. That's actually built around getting it controlled and you onto this program quicker, because once you're on this program, you're managing it at home. We don't kind of want you in clinic repeatedly for treatments, because then your acne isn't getting under control and we're not using the right things. So I would thoroughly recommend using that, and you know, kind of making sure that you've got good skincare, good lifestyle changes, and you're using this. You know, if you use this home peel recipe here, that's going to be absolutely fantastic for you. I would thoroughly recommend that. So that's kind of it from us, guys. Also, yeah, part of our program, actually, if you sign up with us for free, there's nothing more than just leaving your name and email address. You actually get a 5% lifetime discount of any treatments or products with us. Plus, we give you a drip feed of information about acne and things like the home peel recipe. So that's a nice little bonus for everybody today. I hope you all enjoyed it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up to question and answers if anybody's got any. So that module's open now. And if anybody's got anything, obviously they can just tap that in. And I will also just quickly share with you the home peel recipe site. I'll just get that open now, and hopefully that should come across at some stage. I must admit I've never used this show item before. But anyway, it's just a page where we've got the home peel recipe kit. So it's on our website now. It's live now. You can just go on bit.ly or bit.ly/homeacnepeel, and that will get you there. Maybe if I stop sharing, it will show you the item. or it might just come back to me. But that's kind of us from today, guys. If you have any questions on acne, we know we've treated lots of people. We know what we're doing with acne, because we do understand what acne is all about. We understand what people go through when they suffer from acne. Yeah, please get in touch. We're on smoothandsimple.com. I'm just waiting around to see if there's any more questions. Just get the Q&A item up again. All right. If you do have any questions, if you're watching the playback from this, then our email address is find.us@smoothandsimple.co.uk, or you can just look us up on smoothandsimple.com.